Before we get started, if you enjoy the show and would like to support us, we have just two things we would like you to check out. Please head to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the show. Our goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers, so we need all the help we can get.
And if you would like to take your support to the next level and get early access to the show, you can come and join us on Patreon. You'll even get a shout out at the end of the episodes. Links to both will be in the show notes.
Right then, Cam, let's get on with the show. Hiya, Cam. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. Another week goes by very quickly, as we as we always say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gone quick. But yeah, so let's get on with some news stories that we've seen, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. We're going to kick off with Fujifilm could be making a quirky digital compact.
What's
Um,
okay? What's
and
quirky about this then?
Well, it's now these are only rumors, but basically, Fujifilm have been rumored to be making an all-new camera with a new kind of sensor, and I think this might raise a few eyebrows.
Okay.
Potentially, they reckon it could be released in 2025. There's not that many details. It's just really speculation. But basically, what they're looking to do is to make a digital compact camera with a 1-inch sensor. Now, some people
Okay.
go, well, what's so exciting about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's the bit, okay, that I think a lot of people are going to go, oh, right. Okay, so
Okay.
basically, what they're thinking of doing, their development is suggesting that this new sensor could, in fact, be a unique vertical sensor rather than being horizontally positioned, like in
Oh,
every other digital camera.
okay. My eyebrows are officially raised.
Exactly right. Now think about this. Okay, so basically, you would still be holding the camera horizontally, which is the easiest way to hold a camera. Yet you'd be making vertical format pictures and videos the way you would normally do on your phone.
Right. Okay.
So have think about that for a minute. Okay, so now obviously what we can all do is if we wanted to do that, we could just rotate our cameras, couldn't we, from landscape to
Well,
portrait? Just
yeah. Yeah,
okay
we could.
to shoot, yeah, to shoot in vertical format, and but that's only for photos. But when it comes to video, you can't do that. What you have to do is you have to put them in through a video editor,
Yeah.
which is easily done, which so many people do.
Yeah.
And so that's one. But the thing is it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But by having a camera that shoots vertically, without you having to rotate the camera, you're holding it in the most comfortable position. Then surely it's something that camera manufacturers should be doing. To me, it's almost a no-brainer.
No, no, no. I don't think this is something camera manufacturers should be doing. I get why Fuji are going down this route, right? And to be honest, when I first read it, when I first heard about this, I didn't really take into account video, I have to say, because my first thought was, well, have you ever heard of a portrait grip? Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because you just have a portrait grip, and
Yeah,
that's as comfortable as anything else. Video wise, though, okay, I get it. If you it's not as simple as doing that, is it? For video. So, yeah, I can see there's a market for it. Do I think all camera manufacturers should do it with all their cameras? No. Maybe every brand will have a model like this, I guess, for the vlogging world. I still think video landscape is the best format.
hmm.
I only really think that video in the portrait format is purely because there's this thing called a smartphone, and that's
Yeah,
it. So there's no other reason, no other reason why you would watch a video vertically, really,
no,
unless you're
that's right.
using
Yeah,
unless it's on your phone. Um,
this. Yeah, I mean, there's one thing though that some people might say, well, why don't I just use my phone? Why do I need to buy a dedicated camera? So somebody might say, well, you're going to get better quality. Right.
mhm,
Okay. That's fair enough. Okay.
yeah.
But now bear in mind, Mark, the clue is here, right? It's Fujifilm. It's come from Fujifilm. Can you think
Mm.
of a reason why this camera might be really attractive, aside from quality, for somebody that says, oh, I'm going to buy this. Rather than shooting on my phone, I'm going to buy this camera because it shoots vertically. Now, aside from quality, why else do you think it would be appealing to a lot of people?
Well, I'm guessing there's add-ons you can have to it, flashes and all that kind of stuff. I guess it'll have a manual mode of some description. So,
No, nothing technical.
oh, nothing technical.
Nothing
Nothing
technical.
technical.
Nothing. Now, Fujifilm. Remember, it's Fujifilm. There's a
Yeah.
clue there. What? Why do you
Okay.
think? Why do you think people are going to think? Yeah, I'm gonna. I need one of those.
Well, I
Aside
don't
from
know. I don't know. I don't know why people would need one of these, but
right, I'll tell you why. It's because they're going to look ultra cool. They're going to have a retro
Oh,
look.
Gordon Bennett. Is that... Oh my word. Okay,
Right.
if that's the reason you're buying a camera, then what you doing? It just to look cool.
Yeah, but a lot of people are going to think, "Oh, I like the look of that. That looks cool. That looks sexy," which it will do. And
Well, I'm
people are
sure it
going to
will.
buy it based on that alone, rather than using their phones. I honestly think that, and I think they might think, "Oh, maybe I'll look a bit more of a pro, bit more serious." Which, yeah, fair enough. You got to play the game sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, okay, fine. If you're fashion, if you're that fashion conscious, then get on with it. I think there's better reasons to buy a camera than fashion, but yeah, fine. This
Yeah,
is obviously the way that part of the market is going. Vlogging and use on social media, which is primarily consumed by mobile phones, is a growing industry. It might eclipse other industries, so I completely get why this camera's there. It's been a bit facetious before,
yeah,
but yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
yeah. It's only rumored, so let's see if it actually happens. All right, Mark. What's the next headline we've got?
Well, yeah, Photoshop. Well, Adobe rather has announced some Photoshop updates at the Max
Okay.
2024, which is, I think, their big event. Yeah, this is well, I got this from Digital Camera World, so I'll be reading some of their article. So Photoshop gets a big update with AI-powered distraction removal, new Firefly models for generative AI, and new generative workspace in beta versions of the software. So for those who don't know what Firefly is Adobe's sort of AI generative image. The image engine is that, I don't know if that's the right phrase
Probably
for
the
it. I
best way
don't know.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically a website. You type in a word and it gives you something. It's pretty good. I like it. It's all good. So I'll just go through. I am going to read this just so I get it right because I'm not software savvy really. New features include a brand new distraction removal tool, which offers one-click solution to removing unwanted and distracting wires, cables, or people from a photo. So this is basically a response to the sort of the apps that phone companies are now using. I mean, I think there's the Google Photos Magic Eraser tool, which apparently is pretty good. So I'm guessing it's a reaction to that. But yeah, I mean, all these apps are increasingly offering sort of one-click AI retouching and object removal options. So yeah, I'm guessing that's what Adobe are really sort of fighting against now. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because you'd always used to think that Adobe's competition would be another software company like Adobe, but actually it's mobile phones that are becoming Adobe's biggest competition, I guess. There's a lot of people who say, oh, you could do that on the mobile phone, and I have to remind them, well, yeah, but if you're printing it 3020, you probably can't do it with your mobile phone.
Mm.
So and I guess Adobe are trying to answer that, which is needed because removing things, especially cables and stuff. I mean, I have to do that with my studio. If you've got a cable for a light or something that gets in the way, which is unavoidable but to be in the scene there, this will really come in handy. So other parts that'd be good. So the distraction removal is available on Photoshop version 26, and people removal will be available on the Photoshop web app. The removal tool in Photoshop has been improved, which with options to turn off using generative AI, always use Gen AI, or let the tool pick what is best for the complexity of the image you're editing. So, that should please any users who would prefer not to use AI elements in their images, but would still want to remove distracting or wanting unwanted objects and people without doing the manual work. So yeah, I think there's some interesting things there. The last thing, for those who are running Photoshop Beta, do you run Photoshop Beta, Cam? I've never actually really done it. Have
No,
you? No, I
no.
know some other people that love Beta, but I never really run it. So yeah, for those who are running Photoshop Beta, the latest version also adds a new generative workspace where you can ideate and play around with generative text-to-image creations before you decide which to use in your project. The generative workspace also contains a history of previous AI-generated content, so you can pull old creations without having to regenerate assets from prompts that may have been forgotten. The generative workspace will exist within Photoshop, but it's as its own separate window. And you can dip in and out without affecting a Photoshop file that you're working on. So it's a bit like Adobe's Firefly web app. The workspace offers a starting spot for inspiration as well as place to upload reference images and choose image styles for more fine grains control. So yeah, some big things happening there, I think.
Yeah, there are. I just want to quickly point out, just say a couple of things. You said about beta testing. A lot of beta testing is mentioned in a lot of articles, and some people aren't aware what beta testing is. Just to say that basically it's a software where real users have the opportunity to use a software where they can see if they can uncover any bugs or issues before it's generally released. So that's what I mean by sort of beta and beta testing. Two things that stuck out here for me on this, Mark, very quickly, is that first of all, they've got and this is thanks to Digital Camera World, where we got this story. Came across this story. They've got a little video where it shows how you can find where the software finds distractions like people and wires, and you just click on it and it basically removes any wires and cables and people out the photo. Now, what I would like to think is that this might hopefully make people better photographers, in the sense that, and what I mean by that is where photographers might think when they're actually taking a photo, you know what, I don't like those cables, I don't like those people there, so I'm going to move, rather than sort of just shooting aimlessly without thinking and then going into Photoshop and then,
I'm not sure.
Then finding all of these things.
I think it might be the opposite. I reckon I can put that in Photoshop. Do you know what? One of the things that I do when I'm shooting the family stuff, especially, or any model stuff, I am, and I'm sure a few models will tell you, I am so fixated on making sure the hair is right, especially with women, because it is so difficult to remove unwanted hair in Photoshop. It's just a pain in the bum. So, and I always say, look, I'm going to do this now because it takes me 2 seconds to do it now in camera rather than it does to do it in Photoshop. So I'm a stickler for that. And I do think, I mean, you see me at a wedding, don't you? You know, if I'm taking a picture of something, I see something in the background, I want it removed. I don't want to do it in Photoshop. So just
no, of course, yeah. That's what we try and do, yeah.
But I do think that if it's just a one click rather than having that arduous task of removing something, then I actually think it might go the other way.
Yeah, and just to finish off, Mark, there's one thing that you would, when you were going through that, was that struck me, and it was basically, you said Photoshop version 26.
Well, you said V26. So I'm guessing that's version 26.
So are we on version 26 of Photoshop?
Well, I'm guessing so. I don't know if that includes the original sort of
that's what I'm thinking,
disc versions, but if you think about it, the amount of updates you get now with Photoshop, I mean, I think it updates at least 3 times a year or something. Yeah, it's got to.
That's why I was. Yeah, that's why I was wasn't sure. So anyway,
probably more than that. I don't know. But
right, yeah. Okay, so moving on, Mark. Now I've come across something. This is something that I came across in the Financial Times.
Okay. Now, that's not usually our source material, but okay.
Well, you'd be surprised. Yeah. But basically, I think this is going to be of interest, particularly so recently, you know, where people that are interested in pictures of, astronomy and that type of thing, and pictures of the night sky, especially recently because we've had the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis here in the UK.
Did you see any of that?
I didn't know.
No,
I didn't know. I saw lots of pictures.
Yeah. People who live in Coventry, like down the road from me, could see it, and I couldn't see it. I'm just guessing it's just,
Yeah.
Everyone's anyway, look at this. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, but there's a really interesting article in the Financial Times about, basically, it's about how images of the universe are in hot demand. And bear with me because I know there's a lot of people that really enjoy this photography. So I'm going to take the main bits of the article first and just read through them. So there's a few sort of short paragraphs I wanted to, because it's not something that we talk about sort of regularly enough. And I know a lot of people like, the night sky, as it were. So I think that's, but basically it goes off to say that the NASA James Webb Space Telescope released its first full color image to the public on the 12th of July 2022. Taken from its orbit of the sun, some 1.5 million kilometers beyond Earth, it captured thousands of twinkling distant galaxies in the sharpest ever resolution.
Cool.
And it then goes on to say, picking out the main bits, the NASA Webb Instagram account has also captured the imagination of Michael Hoppen, a photography specialist who opened his eponymous London gallery in 1992. He says that it is the most extraordinary thing to look at, frozen time, at stars whose light was emitted hundreds and thousands of years ago, he says.
That's the thing that really boggles my brain, when you're looking at the stars. I mean, if you're not taking pictures of them, you're just looking at them. It's like that light you're looking at is thousands of years old. It's just nuts.
It is, and that's what makes these even more interesting. As digital images of outer space grow more slick and advanced, the romance and pioneering DIY spirit of early astronomical photography has also taken on a new luster for collectors, which is why the Financial Times have picked up on this.
Of course.
This is
Show me the money.
Wow. The allure of such historic imagery, which began in the 1840s, is threefold. Here's what makes it interesting. Hoppen says, yes, there is an extraordinary temporal and conceptual part to it. Then there's a historical element of it. And then there's a technical side of it. And I think it's a really good way to break down why these images are so interesting to people. It says the incredible ideas and systems people have come up with to photograph the heavens. He described himself as a stargazer, and he has a small series of small cosmic images by the 19th century engineer Emile Belot on display in his bedroom. It says basically, as soon as photography was invented, people were taking pictures of space. It says Edward Bloomer, he's a senior astronomy manager, digital and data at Royal Museums in Greenwich. He points to John Draper's 1840 image of the moon, a daguerreotype made using the method of photography revealed by Louis Daguerre the previous year. It's currently on loan to the Met in New York. It says Draper's son, Henry, a doctor, and like his father, amateur astronomer, also made many early lunar portraits. And the first photographs of nebulae, the clouds of gas and dust found in space. It says one of his silver prints of the moon from 1863 is available at Milestones of Science books in Ritterhus, Germany, priced at $50,000, 50,000 euros rather.
Still a wow.
Now, now it goes on to say, here's where the story sort of really sort of caught my eye. It says, in the 20th century, Edwin Hubble, after whom one of NASA's space telescopes is named, used photography to prove that some space objects that astronomers once termed nebulae were in fact far-off galaxies. It says, for Bohannon, Hubble's 1929 discovery of the expansion of the universe is the last big discovery by analog photography. Gallery Gad collection in Paris has Hubble's 1923 image of the Barnard Galaxy, which shows up as a smattering of black dots with Hubble's annotations, available for a secret six-figure sum. Whoa. It's the Mona Lisa of astrophotography.
Okay.
Now these photographs are fetching big sums. At Sotheby's annual space exploration, it is astronaut-taken photographs that are the most popular. In July, for example, an image of the surface of the moon from the ill-fated Apollo 13 mission, in which a tech malfunction prevented the spacecraft from landing, sold for $204,000, over an estimate of $3,000 to $5,000. That's quite staggering.
Well, it is, but it is understandable. I mean, just Apollo 13. The malfunction is meant it couldn't land on the moon. It did land. Obviously the astronauts came back. But there's a human touch to that, though, isn't there? Because it was an astronaut that took it. It doesn't surprise me that it's the astronaut taken photos that have more reverence about people, because there is a slight disassociation when it's to a satellite or whatever it is. As brilliant as those images are. The satellite has taken a picture and it's very scientific and reasoned and all that. Whereas an astronaut picture, basically somewhere in the brain of that astronaut has gone, this is an interesting picture, and has taken it, and that adds something to it, doesn't it?
Mm.
Also, if they're on the moon, it's been taken on the moon as well.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it adds to the sort of magic of that photo, I think.
Yeah,
So
that's
it doesn't
right.
surprise me that it's the astronaut-led photos, the astronaut-taken photos by are the ones that
Yeah.
actually fetch the most dollar.
And just to finish off, the article goes on to say it's about acknowledging that this is an important artistic pursuit, adding that the confluence of art and science can elicit a unique sense of awe and wonder. Very true. It's just personally, I love the deep space stuff. This is Bloomer, nebulae and things like that. But most people are really intrigued when they see something cool from space.
Yeah, of course.
What do we got next, Mark?
Okay, right then. So moving on, to boldly move on. Okay, so something that's going to bring us right back down to earth. It's back to the realm of social media and Meta. As you know, we've spoken about some of the updates that Meta have announced from their event a few weeks ago, and this one is quite an interesting one. So Meta unveils AI tech for advertisers that transforms a still image into a video. Now, I got this from Petapixel, and basically, in a move that is lowering the creative barrier, Meta is giving advertisers the ability to make a moving image from a still one with new AI tools. It means that Facebook and Instagram users might start seeing AI-enhanced ads in their feeds thanks to these features Meta is providing to companies. Now, this isn't actually that new, but Meta did give an example of a generic ad for a strawberry jam brand. It has strawberries dotted around the jar, which start floating thanks to AI, and it does look pretty good. I mean, this is a number of tools have already been out already. There's the AI video platform Picker, which has been around for a bit, and it explodes things and squishes things and crushes things and all that kind of stuff, and it is all from a still image. But yeah, I mean, it brings these images to life, I guess. I guess this has been coming for a while because Facebook have been doing those 3D ones, haven't they? When you move your phone and all that kind of stuff. As a videographer, Cam, what do you think?
It's just technology moving forward. What can you say?
Yeah.
I've seen some gimmicky stuff where you see, online where they've got a photo of someone and that they show that person's lips moving. I'm talking to real basic level.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's and that's like the beginning of it, I suppose, if you look at it really from used from a jokey point of view, but someone's actually done that, whatever. So I guess it just takes it on. All of these things, they're going to change marketing. That's what they're going to do. This picture of these strawberries in this jar here, if you can take a still and turn that into a video, it's going to save people an awful lot of time, an awful lot of money. It's going to create new ideas, that type of thing. It's another way of just part of technology moving forward, really. When Photoshop first came out, let's have a think about Photoshop. And I remember the first version of Photoshop, I remember if you did an action, you could, how you can go back multiple times and undo it, well, you could only go back one step.
Yeah.
Back then. And it was like, wow, I can, take a spot out of someone's face just by using the clone tool. It was like groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And so I guess, I think, we've been very fortunate, Mark, in that we, and I clearly really remember when Photoshop really came out for photographers. We started to move out of the darkroom and into the digital aspect of things. And I think, and that I always that's why my view is always that this is just another step forward in moving, because I've seen that sort of change right from the beginning.
Do you think it'll affect product videographers?
We always say this, so somebody comes up with there's something new and say, oh, our photographer's going to be not needed anymore. Is this taking the work away from such and such? Yes. However, different work is created. So photographers go into different directions. So my view of, this is taking work away from such and such, that doesn't really sort of stand, that argument doesn't really stand for me anymore. Okay. Because as the world goes on, new jobs are created. The jobs that
Yeah.
many jobs that that we had even 10 years ago now no longer exist, but people are doing different things. You don't have photographers sitting there doing nothing because say, well, I can't do that now because my customer does it himself or herself. No, the photographers moved into a different direction and found something else. So
Yeah. Although I am looking
interesting.
forward to companies really creating AI to help dust my house or something,
Yeah,
so then
well,
I
yeah.
can spend more time doing creative stuff.
Proper useful stuff. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they
that's
can do
right.
the boring stuff, AI, and then I can do the interesting creative stuff, please. Can
Yeah.
we get on with that, please, guys? Yeah.
All right. Okay. So next up, now this has got nothing to do with AI. It is purely, how photography is advanced. But there's been an award-winning image and quite a groundbreaking image of a close-up of brain tumor cells.
Yeah. It's amazing,
That's just been released. It's Nikon Instruments announced the winners of the 50th anniversary Nikon Small World Photomicrography competition. It says this year the prestigious photomicrography competition received around 2,000 entries from amateurs, researchers, students, and other scientists from 80 countries. It was founded in 1974, and it's widely considered the leading platform for recognizing art, proficiency, technical skill, and photographic excellence involved in photomicrography, which is capturing images through a microscope. Okay, now this year's winner was by Dr. Bruno Cisterna, and with assistance from Dr. Eric Vitrol of Augusta University. And it says this this winning image is remarkable because it's of a differentiated mouse brain tumor cells, showcasing the actin cytoskeleton microtubules and nuclei. Okay, now I'm reading this obviously.
Yeah,
now,
neither of us are scientists, so
no,
yeah.
But it says this image shows how disruptions in the cell's cytoskeleton, the structural framework of the cell, can lead to debilitating neurological diseases like Alzheimer's. And the process, it says, after allowing 5 days for the cells to differentiate, they had to find the right field of view where the differentiated and non-differentiated cells interacted. This took about 3 hours of precise observation under a microscope to capture the right moment, involving many attempts and countless hours of work just to get it right, Dr. Cisterna said. So their hard work has not only, has not only paid off in for research, but to win the Nikon Small World Photomicrography contest as well. And it's things like this that push medicine forward and technology forward. We talk about AI all the time and all of that and everything, but this is this is truly groundbreaking stuff. Just the spirit of scientific progress is reflected across many of the images entered into this year's competition and the prior 49 editions. It says that 50 years Nikon Small World is more than just an imaging competition. It's become a gallery that pays tribute to the extraordinary individuals who make it possible. Forget about AI. This is where it's at. This is the real stuff.
I think it's where I think both this and AI is where it's at. To be honest, I think it's incredible. There's not much more to say, really. I think just congratulations to everyone involved. I think it's a marvelous image. It's it's interesting from I don't know really what I'm looking at here. I know it's a close of a brain tumor, but I don't really know what all the bits are, but it's fascinating anyway. I think it's the colors are wicked. You can enjoy this image in certain ways, but the fact that it's actually pushing science and medicine forward, I think is brilliant. And well done for Nikon as well for sort of supporting this area of work. We often forget that Nikon do a lot of microscopes and things, don't they?
Of course, I mean, lenses, and all of the field of astrophotography, medical photography, all kind of manufacturers. Sony, for example, Canon, they're all heavily involved in stuff like that. We sometimes think photography ends at product, fashion, and weddings, don't we? So
and I think Olympus. I mean, we spoke about it when Olympus went, didn't they sold off their sort of camera section, but kept their microscope and sort of
very much so,
science area, didn't they? So brilliant, well done,
good stuff. Okay, Mark, and on a completely opposite side of things.
Well, it's you say that, but it is actually kind of linked. In a way.
I don't know what you mean here.
It is a way. So I'll be honest, I saw this on TV and then I researched it a little bit. And it was just a story that put a smile on my face. So I just wanted to have a little say here. So Bakewell Care Home residents star in comedy western. So residents at a care home in Derbyshire are heading to the red carpet after starring in a comedy western film. 11 residents from the Old Vicarage residential home in Bakewell, with a combined age of 948. Wow. Have written and filmed their own Western based on Robin Hood and set in West Yorkshire. Oh, this is brilliant. The tale of Robin of Otley features 84-year-old Tony Jackson, who has Parkinson's, and he's the sheriff, basically. He told ITV News, over the last 4 years, my health has deteriorated. I've had cancer of the throat. I then got prostate cancer and I've had COVID twice. He's also been in a car accident as well. So this guy's been through the ringer. But you know, they've all come together, and they've done this, and I think it's really good. So yeah, the film, which includes deadly shootouts and Yorkshire puddings, stars a 96-year-old Jeff Hinchcliffe as Robin. He says he thinks they chose him because he's a Yorkshireman. Okay. I'm sure there's some acting chops there as well, Jeff. But yeah, red carpet premiere is taking place in Bakewell on Wednesday, the 16th of October. Oh, so that was a couple of days ago. Irene Onion, that's a great name, who plays Lord Elvis, said, everyone can feel involved. A lot of people have taken part in it, even if it's just the odd line or two. And I think they've enjoyed it. And that's important for somewhere like this. It helps you just get on with things. Life's worthwhile after all. And I think that's the important thing about this, isn't it? It does show that getting yourself, the creative juices going and doing things like this just helps the brain, doesn't it? And it's another side of what can sort of combat things like Alzheimer's, I guess. I mean, I'm no scientist or doctor, but
I don't know if you mentioned, Mark. I don't know whether I didn't hear you say, but it was shot on it was a 40-minute movie filmed on a phone.
Oh yes, no, I didn't say that.
Okay,
yes.
and basically the residents took turns to film their parts separately in front of a green screen before the clips were edited together.
Yeah,
I mean, mentally, how, as you're saying, how good is that? You know, to be able to do something like that, and they were probably all saw the edit coming together, and I think this is absolutely fantastic. I think it's a great story, and has everything to do with photography and video. But yeah, shout out to them. Brilliant. I'm going to try and see if I can find that actually.
Yeah, I want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure it's really funny. So do have a look. I mean, I think there's a shout out to a chap called James Dixon who did help out the residents film the movie in front of the green screen as well. So it wasn't just them. They did have some help, but you know, fair play. I think they tried to do a comic strip beforehand. I think that's what they were going to do, and then it transpired that they did this film instead. So, so yeah, it's just wicked, and as I say, put a smile on my face. So do check out the video, guys. It's going to be wicked. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, Mark, time to grab a drink, and then we'll go into the meaty story.
Awesome stuff.
Okay, Mark. So, as photographers and videographers, we all go through certain periods in a year where we go very quiet, where we're scrapping around for things to do. Worry sets in. Where's the next job going to come from? Okay, and
normally around January and February for me.
Right. Okay. And do you know what? Generally, I never really know because we're involved heavily in a lot of graduation work, which sort of has its hot spots, doesn't it? Because July and November are the hot spots, but they are dotted around the year. For example, we've got January next year, and then I think April. Those sort of things that go on. I'm involved in wedding photography. There's a commercial side of the business, and the school that I run, Mark. Then you've got your work that goes on as well. So, you know, but we still do have our quiet periods, and it's finding things to do in those periods and trying to be proactive, trying to be productive, because it's also very easy to get down as well. I think especially when the weather's not so great, when you get those grey days and it's wet, and we've had a lot of wet weather recently. But I think it's one of the things where you can, when you have a lot of time in your hands, you can start to overthink, you can start to over worry. And they're all things that I've been through over the years. And all the years I've been doing it and working for myself, I've always said I would never go back and change, what I've actually done. Well, I sort of say that, but I think if I could, I do appreciate what I have done and the freedom that I've had over the years. But also, I do appreciate somebody who works full time somewhere and gets their set holidays a year, gets a regular wage, right?
Yeah.
It's a big thing, So somewhere in the middle, is sort of in the right answer. But
I'll be honest, when it came to self-employment, it's not something I really seek to do. I was quite happy being employed. It's just there was nowhere for me to go. If there had been that amazing job that offered me decent benefits and a decent yearly salary and meant I was photographing things, then I would have taken that, to be honest, rather than gone self-employed. But those jobs just don't exist anymore.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah. Now I wanted to just wanted to talk through 5 things that photographers and videographers can be doing during quiet periods. Now, I'm not saying that these are the top 5 necessarily, or that these are just 5 of the things, because there are a number of different things that you can actually be doing. But these are 5 things that you can look at doing to keep yourself busy, to keep your mind active as well. And the first one is going to be updating your portfolio, using that time to update your website with your most recent work, some of the best work. It's really easy to forget about your website. We do talk about social media a lot of the time, and because we're posting on social media all the time, we sort of forget about our website.
I don't post really.
We don't, right? We don't, right? Yeah. Let's say photographers and videographers post. We should.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But it's so your website is very, very important to keep up to date, because I do think that a lot of serious people will go to a website and make decisions on a website based rather than based something that's on social media. I think having a website and a solid website is very, very important. But also, you've got to have recent work. What you don't want to do is find that you've got a blog on your website. And I know a lot of people are going to be guilty of this. They've got a blog on a website, and the last entry they made was January 2020. Okay.
Yeah.
Their latest news was February 2018. Okay. Or there was a lot of news during COVID when people were actively trying to do things. Now, if you're guilty of that, and a lot of people are,
yeah, definitely.
Then first of all, is what you want to do is remove the date of your updates. Okay, because you can do it. Just don't show the dates. So there's a very simple fix for that. But just be careful that your stuff isn't outdated. And if you have got blogs that have got a date, either see if you can remove the date or get on there and just start updating and getting something up there. Improving skill. So that was number 1, is just keeping your portfolio updated, let's just say.
Yeah.
Second point, improving skills and experimenting is, it's a good way to try. It's a good opportunity to learn different things, to perhaps experiment with different photographer, different lighting techniques. If you're a portrait photographer or you're a product photographer, maybe just take out, a couple of hours a week or something, pick up a product. If you're a product photographer, just play around with lights, look at some of the stuff that you see on Instagram and some of the stuff that photographers are doing, and look at how that's done. And, and there's nothing then wrong with you using that stuff on your website for marketing. You're producing, you're experimenting, but you are using these images and putting something online. And, you can openly say, look, I've just been experimenting with some stuff. Well, you don't need to say anything. People might think it's an actual shoot that you've done for a client. Everyone's got to play the game, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, and you could do the same with portraits as well. So Mark, with yourself, you could get a family in, couldn't you, if it's a very quiet period, or get a couple in or one person in and just try some different stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think I did. I try and do that when I can, to be honest. I just don't really have the time at the moment. So that's the only
That's just it, isn't it? Yeah.
so, yeah.
So the third point, networking and marketing yourself. Now, most of the time, this is what people are going to think. Here's the 5 most important things that you should be doing. But yes, networking, marketing yourself, and a lot of people don't like doing this. We will engage on social media. Okay, and it says engage on social media. You should be sharing behind the scenes content, that type of thing that you can do. Now, those things are fairly straightforward because you're sitting on your own in front of a screen. It's easy to get engaged on social media and to share some stuff. Okay. But there are other opportunities. There are still networking groups. And I don't know whether it's just me, but I'm wondering whether more and more people are shying away from things, whether we're becoming more insular, and
maybe. I mean, I used
not
to
attending networking meetings.
Yeah, I used to do a networking meeting, like a breakfast one, and it was all right. And it was hard going because it's a breakfast one. My studio is not that as close to me as I'd like, so the area in which I had to go to was then a little bit further. So yeah, I didn't get much from it in the end of it all. I mean, I got a couple of things from it, but yeah,
I did it. Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, I attended. I don't mind saying it, BNI, which is one of the biggest groups, but I only ever attended as a guest for somebody, and I never actually joined them.
See, I did. I did B2B, which was the other big
right.
one.
Okay. Yes.
And I did join for a bit, and yeah, it was all right. I met some cool people, and a couple of things came from it, but nothing, nothing really what I wanted. I got a few things from it, but it wasn't the things I went there to get. Does that make sense?
Of course, that's right. Yeah. I did find on my experience of them, you do get an awful lot of life coaches on these.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, loads.
I'm not knocking life coaches.
No,
but there are an awful. Yeah, there are an awful lot of life coaches out there who are part of these groups. I'll tell you how to manage your time.
And like I said, nothing wrong. I mean, because there was a couple of life coaches on mine, and both lovely people, and I've got a lot of time for them. I think I'm friends with a couple of them still on Facebook, actually. So they're nice, really good, and they're good businesses as well. But yeah, I needed something quite specific, and actually, it didn't really get me that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
but for other sides of businesses, maybe it'd be better. I'm guessing it didn't work for me because of the type of business I'm in. I knew really how I needed to run my business, and what I needed, what I thought I might get from this group is not what I was getting, because I was quite specific in what I needed. There's a couple of maybes, and then it didn't quite go through, but it is what it is. It's there's no, I don't have any malice towards it. It's you try these things, don't you? But for me, it wasn't really it.
Sure. There's one other thing about the network and marketing yourself, and I think a lot of people, but I can guarantee anyone listening to this probably won't actually do this. Okay, but we've all got competitors, and I think and we tend to ignore our competitors and sort of try and keep distance from competitors. But you know what? It's not actually a bad idea to, out of the blue, just drop one of your competitors an email and say, "Hi, look, I'm such and such. I'm based in the same town as you. I see you do whatever type of photography you do. Do you fancy getting together for a coffee? Just have a chat, that type of thing. I don't connect with others. I don't know people or whatever," because I can guarantee a lot of photographers, a lot of people listening out there don't know their competitors, other people. And I know that I've not necessarily done that in the past, because I've known some of my competitors over the years, and I have got together with them over a number of years, not for a long time now, for a coffee and that type of thing. There were 2 in particular that I got to know really well, and that was really good because we passed work across to one another, and we don't do that type of thing, So try and see if are you brave enough to actually do that, and I can guarantee you that it would be that's one of the most useful things that you'll find, because that person will definitely pass some work on to you, and who knows, you may end up working together on a project or somewhere.
Mm.
So
No, absolutely.
contact one or two local suppliers, maybe get a group of 3 or 4 of you together, and just meet for a coffee and just break the ice. I think that's a really good one. So okay, so the fourth tip is review your equipment. Okay, you might want to get some of your equipment, your camera serviced, maybe dust sensors cleaned and all of that. Okay, but my main thing is get all of your equipment, lay it out, the stuff that you've got in the garage, in the shed, okay, stuff that's just been sitting in the back of your car for God knows how long, the old camera bag that you've not opened, and all the little bits and pieces you got. Lay everything out and have a look and say to yourself, do I use this stuff? Do I actually need this stuff? This lens, I've had it for years. I've not used it for the last 2 years. And get rid of that stuff. Go to MPB and sell it all. Get rid of it. You might find, right, that you may end up selling a load of stuff and you get £300 for it. You think, oh, it's worth more than that for £300. But if you've not used it for a year, then that stuff's just put that money towards a new camera or to a new flash to a new tripod or something that you really need. And freshen. And do you know what? It's quite inspiring. You might find that you end up thinking, God, I've got this camera. I never use it. I just think I might need it, but I can get £1,500 for it. And that new camera I really wanted, I can now afford it because I've got all of this stuff that I can trade in and get rid of. In other words, have a clear out. And I'm sure that, everyone has, I don't mean it's junk, but everyone's junk is of value to somebody.
Yeah, of course.
And it could be the old light stand that you don't use or something. Just try and get it out there and get rid of stuff and make yourself more streamlined.
Yeah, no, that's definitely good. Just make sure you don't need it though, because sod's law states as soon as you sell it, up comes a job, and you're like,
So I'll tell you one way around it, Mark, is that I tend to find, look, if I've not used it for a year, I know that I'm not going to need it again. Okay, I'll just know I used to use it. I used to use it all the time, but I don't need it. Then you question it. Well, why don't I need it? And then you realize the reason why you don't need it is because you've got other things that now do what that piece of equipment was doing. And then you realize, there's reasons why I don't need this.
Or there's something else there as well, Cam, actually. Is because we slip out of things, don't we? We go through ways of shooting. I mean, I know I do this with my portrait studio. I'd do something, and then maybe I'll change to something else, and I'll do that something else. And then that bit might be a piece of equipment that I maybe should have used or something. And then you think, oh, hang on, why am I not doing that anymore? Maybe I should be doing that again.
Yeah, good point.
So it's not necessarily about getting rid of the equipment as such. Let's say it's a certain light modifier or something like that. You think, oh, wait a minute, I was using this. What was I using this for? Okay, why am I not doing that anymore? Put it back into your repertoire. That's a really good point, skills,
because what you're almost saying is that you forgot about it. It was just there, and it got bunged into the corner of a room somewhere. It was in your garage. It's now in a bag that's covered up by something. And you think, oh, that's where it is. Or as you've just said, Mike, you think, do you know what? I'm going to use that again, and then
use it again.
And you know what? These are things that suddenly inspire you. So if you are in a quiet period, if you are feeling a little bit down about things, or your work's just not coming in, it's one of those things. I guarantee you work will come in. It's just, it's the way things are. These are little things that you can do to inspire yourself. So to do it, work on it today or tomorrow. Make a day in the diary and say, right, I'm going to go and grab all of my equipment. And
if you've got time.
Out. Yeah,
this is supposed to be if you're not busy.
If you've got time. If you've got time, this is all the things to do. These are things that you should be doing at some point. Some people go quiet over the Christmas period, and that's the time to do it. It's just get all of your stuff together.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last thing is business and workflow, and optimizing what you actually do and streamlining what you do. Now, you'll notice that I haven't gone really into social media. You should be spending X amount of time doing this, X amount of time doing that, as like the top 5 things. These are things that everyone can actually be doing, and business and workflow optimization is really key. Going back now since after COVID is, as a business, I am now more or less paperless. we've gone, as I look around my office, okay, and there is paper still everywhere.
Of
Okay,
course, you can't get away from it completely.
no, but it has been really streamlined. Accounts, for example, like now, if I get a receipt, I'll take a photo of my receipt and I'll upload it onto Dropbox. So whoever's doing the accounts can just grab it there, and I'll throw that physical paper receipt away now. I've got a photo of it, and then some account softwares allows you to take the photo of the receipt in that account software. Once you've done it, right, then great, it's easily in. Mark, as you know, like with the graduation work and weddings, we share we share projects and project briefs and information via Google Drive.
But I do print. Hang on. I'm just going to call you up on this one, because all you're doing there is shifting the paperwork to me, because I have to print it out.
I print out. Like, so if we go to a wedding, I do print out the schedule, so I've got a hard copy of it.
Yeah. As do I. In fact, I've got one right here. Look, there we go.
Yeah. But before COVID, we used to have a folder, one of those A4 foolscap folders, for every job that we had on the go. We had a shelf full of folders, all of these folders, loads of them. I've now got all these empty foolscap folders in a box because they're not used, because every job now is on Google Drive. So, Mark, as you know, you can go onto Google Drive, click on, say, a wedding that we've got, and you can see all of the information is there, and it's in real time. So you may want to make a note on there, and if I change something, it's been changed straight away. And it's in real time as well, which is great. So everything is now shared. And so if you guys are still using paper and you write down your project, or you keep a job bag or something for each job that you do, put it all online. You don't need paper. You might be thinking, oh no, I still like to make notes. But you can make notes on your laptop, and as I said, they're in real time. Plus you can share them with anyone else that's involved in that project as well. So that's a really good way of doing that. Also, when it says business and workflow flow optimization, that's one of the things about optimizing, is trying to make a conscious effort to go sort of paperless. Other things that you could doing is look at your pricing structures, see if you can streamline those. One way of doing things is, I think, look at how people like to buy things in this day and age. And if you look at your pricing structure, is your pricing structure confusing? Does it work with modern methods? Is your pricing structure now too complicated? It was valid, say, 2 or 3 years ago, but the way people look at things, remember, people's attention spans are much shorter these days. So you can might look at that and simplifying things, so information is much easier to understand.
Absolutely. And I'm going to add a final one, actually, Cam. If you've been busy all year and you're not busy for like a month or whatever, don't be afraid to just take a bit of time off.
I've just done that.
I mean, it's, we're coming out of our major busy period. I'm actually going to have, we're recording this on a Friday. Tomorrow's a Saturday. I haven't got any work on. It's going to be amazing. For the first time in ages, I'm not going to be working over a weekend. And you know what? I'm looking forward to it like you wouldn't believe. It's going to be great. And there's nothing wrong with taking a bit of time. Forget about photography. If it's video games or a certain sport you like jogging, whatever it is, or you just want to go to the cinema, or just put your feet up and just do nothing for a day or a week. Allow yourselves that time as well. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think that comes, you could actually put that in that last subheading I gave, business and workflow optimization.
No, forget that.
Do you not think that actually part of that is take some time off? Because I think that just helps your workflow. I'm trying to put it in within a heading. It's a separate heading, top 6 then. Okay, it's just number 6 is take time off.
Just take time off. Don't be afraid to take time off, because we're all guilty of it. We're all thinking, I know I'm a shocker for it. If I'm like, maybe I should be working. Maybe I should be doing this. Maybe I should be doing that. And actually, no, just because other times I am running around like a blue ass fly because I am busy, and I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I wish my quieter times was in the summer, I have to say, rather than in February, because I don't get to see any of my mates really during the busy times, and it is hard. So yeah, it's just worth taking some time off as well.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Mark, should we give a shout out to our Patreons?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to start with Emily Brown because I forgot your name last week. So Emily Brown, thank you very much for joining our Patreon. We've also got Nick Payne, we've got Rob Percy, we've got Craig Chuck, got Amira Zainab, Frank Case. I think that's everyone.
I think
Carl
so,
Sherville. Carl Sherville.
Carl Sherville. Right, okay. That's your job for this one.
We have to start writing these down.
I know. That's right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Good stuff.
So, thank you so much,
Mark,
guys.
just before we go, can I know we don't normally do this, bit of a shameless plug, just a bit of a shout out. But for those who don't know, that I also run the Bedfordshire School of Photography, and we have a group of level 3 students who are started from level 1. They did level 2, so they were complete beginners. They just completed level 3, and part of level 3 was exhibiting their work in a public gallery. Now, by the time this comes out, this public gallery is taking place at the Bunyan Gallery on Mill Street in Bedford, and it's open for a week. But by the time you hear this, which is on the Thursday, you've got it finishes on Saturday. It finishes, yes, this Saturday coming. Okay, for those of you that are listening to it. So 23rd of October. No, I think it's something like the 26th of October it finishes. Now the gallery is open.
This is seamless.
Now the gallery is open from 11 o'clock until 4 o'clock. It's free entry. But if you are in the Bedford area, go and have a look at some of the work the photographers have displayed. It's really brave of them to have actually done it. As I said, they started out as complete beginners last year, and they're now at the point where they're exhibiting their work in a public gallery. So a shameless plug there. We've never done it. We never do it, do we, Mark? But
no, we don't.
It's an opportunity for anyone out there just to go and see some work in a gallery, some photography. Good stuff. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. We'll see you next one.
Cheers.